This is part two of our discussions of Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. And here we're going to discuss three notions: nature, philosophy, and being at work. We're going to discuss philosophy this late in the game, in the middle of the second presentation, because, well, it's better that we talk about it after we've had some experience with it. All right, let's move forward. There is an understanding of nature as the source of everything that happens. That is the foundation of Aristotle's thinking. For Aristotle claims that it is by nature that human beings seek the good, not simply as it happens, as if it was possible for things to happen in some other way, as if it was possible for us to not seek the good, but it just so happens that we seek the good. Aristotle emphasizes that it is by nature that we seek the good, just as everything seeks its proper purpose by its nature. And it is by that same nature that certain choices are according to the human good and will make us achieve the human good, while other choices are against nature and will not facilitate our achievement of the highest good. Persons who understand and have better knowledge about the human good are more likely to achieve it, while persons with poor knowledge about the human good are less likely to achieve it, even though even the latter persons may achieve the human good, but they would do it by accident rather than by knowledge. To return to our previous example, a person who does not understand and know that robbing banks is against what is good for human beings by nature is not likely to achieve the human good and live a good life. Thus, knowledge is of that which is by nature. Knowledge is knowing what is by nature for each and any being. The basic thought about nature is that each thing by nature has its goal or end or purpose and strives to get there. This is true for inanimate beings in nature as well as for animate beings in nature. Inanimate beings, such as stones, Aristotle would say, by their nature tend to be stationary and to stay down. Rivers, for another example, tend to be in motion. Animate beings, on the other hand, move in the direction of their natural purpose, and the source of that motion, both in terms of energy and direction, is within them. Aristotle would say that the source of motion in animate beings is their soul within them. For example, animals move toward their good according to nature, as propelled by their souls, just as human beings do. But the good and the souls of human beings are different than that of animals by their differences in nature. We will discuss the difference of human and animal souls and the differences in their respective goods by nature shortly. Clearly, Aristotle is thinking about human beings differently than we do. He's thinking about it as a person from Greek antiquity does, and the idea of nature was central in that thinking as the reason why everything happens as it does. There is a reason, due to nature, why things happen as they do. And to understand something is just to understand that reason. To know or to understand something is just to know and understand what is by nature according to, with regard to something or being. Things do not happen at random, out of the blue, or simply because someone wants them to happen that way. If the latter was the case, then we could not understand what is happening. And the basic premise of philosophical thinking is that reality is understandable or intelligible. We, in our philosophical mode, strive to understand something, and unless we contradict ourselves, we must conceive of that something in a way that makes it understandable or intelligible. Aristotle and his times offer to us one way of conceiving reality as understandable. Later and contemporary philosophers offer us other ways. And we, in turn, have to decide which thinkers or what parts of their thinking make the most sense without being guided by a predictable prejudice that our times have the best way of understanding human beings and what the good human life is all about. Our knowledge of the external world through the empirical sciences is superior to that of ancients, it would seem. However, with regard to what makes a good and even the best human life, it is not so clear that contemporary or other times have better knowledge than other times. It seems that each of the times offers a piece in the puzzle of what a human being is and what the good human life is. The text with which we concern ourselves in this class is Aristotle's work on ethics, which Aristotle conceives of as responding to the question of what a good and best human life is by nature. That is also the guiding question of our class, and arguably for all human education, knowledge, and other endeavors fundamentally. In thinking philosophically, we try to uncover and shed light on what is fundamental and basic to our rational understanding and thinking, and on which the rest of our understanding and knowledge rests. These fundamental origins of our thinking are not as clear in our thinking as is the thinking we do on the basis of these origins. And the aim of philosophy, at least of classical philosophy, is to make these origins clear for the purpose of the rest of our thinking on their basis to become clearer, and maybe even for revisions of those origins. The basic assumption here is that the clearer and the more revised our thinking is, the more it is likely to reveal reality to us. To our discussion and thinking about Aristotle on the ideas of the good and of nature, we should add that Aristotle conceives of nature as dynamic, in motion, and not standing still. Anything that exists is in some kind of motion by nature. And if it is not actually moving through space, that is either because it has reached its destination or purpose, or because some other thing is preventing it from moving, and we may speak of that thing as being at rest in its motion. In this sense, all that is real is in motion or at work, according to its purpose by nature. Existence, then, is being at work. Anything that exists is at work in some way in order to be in motion toward its good by nature.